Hello, everybody. I'm pleased to announce I have an interview with a guy called Dave. He's called Flat Earth Dave. David Wise. It's David. Would you want to call me Dave? David? Whatever.
People call me a lot of different names, but Dave or David, those are both acceptable.
All right, Dave. We talked a little bit in advance, but I've seen some of your shows, and you know a lot of stuff. And if you only have 1 hour doesn't cover all the information you have.
And I'm welcome. I'm happy to go a little longer if we're having a great conversation. No problem.
Okay, it's no problem with the topic we are discussing now today. We talked about is Earth is a globe.
That's funny. I'm glad you're laughing because I have a new offer. I'm offering 100 Bitcoins for anybody that can come up with something dumber than the globe model. Okay. And I don't think it could be done. 100 Bitcoins.
100 Bitcoins. Okay.
Yeah, it's like $4 million, I think, something like that.
Oh, you're pretty confident. Okay, well, let's go into the flat Earth. I'm not going to call it a theory because the globe is also a theory. Because nobody seems to have the answers about why the Earth is a globe. I think it was around the 1500s. Before the 1500s, everybody believed the Earth was flat, and all of a sudden the Earth was round. You said even in America up till 1920s in schools were teaching the Earth was flat, and after that the Earth was round, right?
Right, and that's the whole story of we've known it for 5,000 years, 2,000 years, whatever the number is. That's a made up story. The whole globe model didn't come into the picture until this century, or this last 100 years. That's when the deception came. That's when they stole our world from us. That's when they put us in a prison for our minds, and that's when they've literally taken over our freedom, which we'll get into. So, the whole belief that the Aristophanes figured it out 2,000 years ago, nonsense. It's all a cool story.
Yeah. Let's go into because I've learned stuff over the years, and I'm starting to disbelieve everything we were taught in school, right?
Good like for you.
Did.
Yeah.
Right. We start to investigate, and things just don't add up. If the Earth is a globe, it has a curvature, right?
Yeah.
For every one, you talking miles, we're talking kilometers. It has to the curvature is every mile is a drop in how many inches?
So the way to look at it, and this is easy. And again, for people that are listening, nothing we're going to talk about is complicated except when we're trying to describe the actual globe. But the curvature formula, so if you have Earth here, you're always standing at the top because you're upright. So your point of view is from the top. And if I draw a tangent line across, you'll see that this distance, like a quarter of an inch out has this much drop, and another quarter of an inch drop has much more drop. So if people say, well, it's 8 inches per mile, well, 8 inches per mile is a slope. It's a straight line, a slope. 8 inches per mile squared gives you that curve. Now, if you really follow the 8 inches per mile squared out to thousands of miles, it creates a parabola, and it's all wrong. But it is accurate math for the first 1,000 or even 2,000 miles, maybe. It works fine. We only need it for a couple hundred miles because you can't see through the air that far. The air will block your vision because the air becomes opaque. Imagine trying to look through 100 panes of glass. You can't, right? The air acts the same way. So the 8 inches per mile squared. First mile, 8 inches, very little. Second mile, 2 times 2 is 4 times 8 is 32 inches. Third mile, 6 feet. This isn't our math. This is their math. And you could do these things. And this is what I did when I got dragged into flat Earth kicking and screaming like it's the dumbest thing ever, and I'm going to prove you idiots wrong. I started seeing all this stuff we could see too far, all of this. And I was like, you know what? Wow, all these videos are really convincing. I want to do it myself. I'm not going to believe anybody. I'm not going to believe any video I see. Video looks convincing, but I'm going to do it myself. Bought a $1,000 camera, tripod, super zoom camera, zoomed in on something that should have been on behind 66 feet of curvature. I could see it. I could see the surface of the water for dozens of miles beyond it.
Yeah.
So there you go. There's your curvature. The curvature formula, it's beautiful. It's a formula describing a ball. We don't live on a ball.
Okay. So, and again, there are many videos proving this, and there are also videos debunking this in their own way. So everybody has to make up their mind at the end of this video which one they want to believe. If the Earth is not a globe, but what you have something called flat Earth Society, I think.
Let me hold on. You brought up Flat Earth Society, so now I got to tell you what it is. Flat Earth Society is a government-run disinformation site, and the way you can tell that is just Google Flat Earth. You're going to end up at Flat Earth Society stuff. You're going to end up at these shill-promoted channels. They're there to capture weak minds. President Obama, during his presidency, mentioned Flat Earth Flat Earth Society a half a dozen times in his speeches. Why is the president mentioning the Flat Earth Society? Because he wants anyone to search Flat Earth to go on the Flat Earth Society. Because you go there, a little bit of truth and a bunch of nonsense. Flat Earth Society says that flat earthers believe that the Earth is rising at 9.8 meters per second, and that causes gravity. No flat earther thinks that. Only globers, people that believe in the globe, think flat earthers think that. They also think flat earthers think that, we're a flat planet and there's other round planets. We don't think that. We're not a flat disk in space, and neither are any of the other planets. We used to be called wandering stars. We are the foundation of the universe. We are the Earth system is the foundation. We live in the Antarctic basin. Go look it up. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. They don't really emphasize that in school. And that's because Antarctica is the container of our pond. We live in a big pond, a lake, right? Yep. And the shoreline is just where the land is higher than the water. Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. Anything bigger than a bucket of water at rest lays flat. Yes, a drop is a sphere, but that surface tension, anything bigger than a bucket lays flat. The Earth is 70% water. There is no bendy water at rest. And the container, water needs a container. Well, here's the container, Antarctica. We live in the Antarctic basin. All of the continents are surrounded by water, but all of the water is surrounded by Antarctica. If Antarctica wasn't there, the water would just continue to ultimately seek the base level.
Yeah. People, this is, by the way, this is proven by Admiral Byrd in the, what it was in the 50s?
In the 1950s, Admiral Byrd went out over Antarctica, and or 40s and 50s, and he said he discovered more land bigger than the United States, that no human, filled with resources that no human has ever stepped foot upon, and then all of a sudden the Antarctic Treaty shows up the next year. And a dozen or so countries signed on, and now they've all signed on, saying nobody can independently explore Antarctica.
That's
for
strange.
any reason. You know why? Two reasons. One, we have to protect the migratory paths of the penguins, and it's the only pristine area on Earth, and they don't want a cigarette butt drop there. This is what. But meanwhile, deforest the Amazon, spray crap in our sky. Poison our world, glyphosate everywhere, GMO, that's all fine. Just nobody can go to Antarctica. Except, high ranking people that go down there at all weird times. Like during the election, Senator Kerry went down there on election day. What's going on there on election day? Who knows what's in Antarctica? Well, Antarctica Antarctica is the key to knowing that we don't live on a spinning globe. So, what's out here? Maybe there's other lands and other oceans. This is Antarctica.
Yeah.
Okay. extra land, extra territory. Maybe someone that would live there in the outer space would be considered an extraterrestrial from outer space.
Yeah. Well, if Antarctica is the South Pole, as we call it, where is the North Pole?
Oh, so that's very easy. So they tell us that Antarctica is this island at the bottom of the globe. That's not the case at all, right? Antarctica is the land that surrounds us. Antarctica is off limits. The North Pole is right at the center of the flat Earth, okay? So if this is the flat Earth map, all this white area is Antarctica. It goes on and on and on. We don't know how far. The magnetic north, I got a magnet here, and I'm trying to push this compass west. And as you see, the compass needs to keep turning towards the center. So west is a circle. So people say, what about circumnavigation? Well, circumnavigation happens when you go east or west. Billions of people have circumnavigated the world east and west. 0 people have done it south. Because when you go south, or what, if I dead reckon west, ready? I'm going to go west and I'm not going to turn correcting to the north. I'm already hitting south. South is every direction away from the center. Yeah. This is a weird one. Every straight line is south.
Yeah, but just theoretically, well, it's not even a theory, but has nobody ever attempted to fly in a straight line? And so
how are you going to fly in a straight line? GPS run by NASA. They're telling you, and then to fly in a straight line, you need something to go by. They look at their compass and they just dead reckon east. Now, if I put you on a racetrack 500 miles around, a perfectly circular racetrack, 500 miles around, you would swear you were going in a straight line if you didn't have anything to reference, right? Yeah. The car would feel like it's going straight. You'd barely notice the turn. And that's just 500 miles, okay? Yeah. That's just the very, very center of the north, okay? These are bigger circles. You don't notice. If you dead reckon straight, yes, you'll end up in Antarctica.
And you could.
You could, but you're not allowed to. No one is allowed to go there. If you do, you'll be stopped by force. And even if you made it there, where are you going to fuel? How are you going to get back? You're not going to know which way is left or right. Compasses don't work there. GPS, there's no GPS in Antarctica. So, people go, well, there's thousands of people that go there every year. Not thousands. There's a good number of people. It's $20, $30, $40, $50,000 for like 3 days. You're on a ship. They barely let you off the ship. They show you some islands, they show you some icebergs and some penguins. Maybe they show you the ceremonial South Pole. They take you right here. Yeah. Right. You don't get to go out here. That's off limits. Anyone that goes there will tell you that there's no independent walking around on Antarctica. Oh, it's because it's too dangerous. It's too dangerous. They tell us. Okay. Yeah. Too cold, baloney. Baloney.
I told you in the beginning, I've seen some of your shows and you have a lot of information, and flat Earth is just a part of it. But I want to somehow keep focus on flat Earth because, we see. We will see what happens. If the Earth is not a globe, but it is flat, right? Why do we people think it is a globe? What's the reason behind all of this?
Well, it's literally a satanic belief. It's the people, that came up with the globe. It's very, very ingenious. I think it's beyond normal human intelligence. And the way we see, there's so many things. Like if you knew nothing about this Earth, you just showed up here today, you could speak, nothing, and you went outside, you would just know that I'm not moving at all. And oh, look, the things in the sky are moving. You would just know that. Common sense rather than nonsense. And then if someone came and said, oh, no, that's not how it is. We're spinning. We're spinning at faster than the speed of sound. When the sun's not going down, you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. And it makes the sun look like it's going down. And you're also orbiting around the sun at 66,000 miles per hour. And by the way, you're chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles per hour. Okay. But you can't feel any of this. You can't feel all of these curving, spinning, gyrating motions, right? Just to give you an idea, this is called the hypersonic sled. Watch carefully. Don't blink. Okay. Here it comes. Mach 8.6. Did you see it? Okay. We're orbiting the sun 10 times faster than that. 10 times faster. And we're chasing the sun 90 times faster. And I'm not talking a straight line. I'm talking curved lines, speeding up and slowing down, going, this can't even 10 times faster is just the orbit speed. And then we're chasing the sun. And meanwhile, we have lakes that look like this. Okay. We're not moving. Use your God-given senses. Stop believing the nonsense. We've been programmed. The Nazis came up with, I think it was Goebbels or one of those guys. Give me a kid from, up to age 7, and I'll control his mind forever. And because up to age 7, you don't have the ability to really discern truth or not. And you can be programmed. And you're programmed that the earth is a ball before you can talk. And then your parents put you in front of Sesame Street, and the kids programming and movies, they're all about the globe. They're all globe programming. Just turn on the TV. Now, those of you hearing this for the first time, next time, I don't ever turn on the TV. But if you do, globes, globes, globes. Globes are everywhere. They're in every scene. They're in every show. They're global this, global that. It's all mind control. What difference does it make? I got to go to work tomorrow, right? That's what people say. Okay. Yeah. The difference is that's Stockholm syndrome. If you don't care that there's more resources, more land, that you are at the center of creation, that you are powerful being, that nobody has control over you, then you're a victim. You're a hostage, and you are a prisoner for the rest of your life. You will never really obtain the true value of your life, because it's being taken from you, and it's being taken willingly. Here's the thing. They can't just take it from us. That's breaking free will. There's rules here. We're in this, I don't have a real word for it, but I say a physical simulation. Okay. Don't freak out, people. We're here. This place is real. My head's hard. But there's rules that they have to play by. Like they can't just kill us. They have to willingly get us to accept. And the way the game works is if they tell you in their roundabout ways and you don't say no, you're saying yes. Yeah. So there you go.
And also if the earth is not a globe, it is flat, then we have been lied to all our lives.
All
right?
Of it. The most important lie of all is this one, because this one, I did a conspiracy podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. You can still find it online. It was a kind of a conspiracy mixed with comedy. It was a lot of fun. And I was looking into all of the things that, were cast upon society as truths, like the thing that happened in New York, and the one that happened at the Boston Marathon, and the one that happened at the school in Connecticut. And these things are all obviously, not what they said they were. And I'd wake people up to that, but then they just go right back to sleep. They go to work. But then you wake people up to flat earth, and their whole life changes. They're like, wow, wait a minute. I'm at the center. The world actually revolves around you. Everything in the sky, in the earth system, spins around you, and that you have incredible powers of your mind. Everything you have in your life is from the way that you think. They're trying to control the way that you think. They want you to believe that there's a food shortage, a water shortage, that there's nuclear bombs, Kim Jong-un's going to blow us up, that there is nothing else to explore, that space is hard. All of that is nonsense. It's all fake. Space is fake. And that's how they control you. They have you living in fear, not realizing your potential. Because if you don't see the potential, you can no longer imagine it. You can no longer go, oh, I see that as a possibility. And yes, I'm going to make that happen. Well, if you don't see the possibilities, you're limiting your manifestation abilities.
Yeah. Okay. So the earth is flat. We have an Earth surrounded with Antarctica. Actually, a big pond. Beyond Antarctica is probably lots of land. Admiral Byrd even
But we
said
don't know
so.
that. Just to be clear, it could just be this, it could just be this and there's nothing else. Or maybe there's a billion other ponds like this. Boom, pond, right? Maybe this is just it. We don't know. Fun to talk about, fun to speculate. Personally, I think there's more land. There was
Admiral Byrd said there was.
Well, maybe he just went out to here. Maybe he just went out. Maybe Admiral Byrd just went over Antarctica, and all of a sudden, hey, there's this land over here, and maybe that's part of the Earth system, or maybe there's other ponds, other oceans. We don't know, but it's very interesting to speculate. This is a Japanese map, 10 centuries old.
I just want to.
And all of these other continents out there. What are they making this stuff up? Okay.
Yeah.
NASA's the only one that makes stuff up. All of this other stuff is from people say, well, we're getting smarter and smarter as a society, and we're at the pinnacle of intelligence, with all of our computers and everything. We are 5 steps into the movie Idiocracy, okay, which has now become a documentary. The advanced civilizations here before us were far beyond what we are. We've literally given up everything because we've been fooled. It's been stolen from us, and that hijacking of our reality happened in the late 1800s, early 1900s. That soon ago.
Okay. Earth is flat. Antarctica circle around our Earth. What are the stars we see in the sky?
Again, anything above us or beyond the shoreline of Antarctica is speculation, but we can scientifically prove that the stars that we see aren't what they tell us. Like, this is the star Arcturus, okay? Now, they tell us that stars are burning balls of gas in a space vacuum. That's a problem, all right? Yeah, a burning ball of gas in a space vacuum, okay? All the planets, rocks collated into planets, and all the gases collated into gas balls, and they left a vacuum in between, okay? There's nothing dumber than that. There's nothing. I'm sorry. No one's going to get their 100 Bitcoins. And then they tell us that these distances that they are so far, here's the serious, that the distance are so far that they never move. Like, if you go out and look at the stars tonight, and then in 10 years or next year, same day, same night, every star will be in the exact same position. But meanwhile, we've corkscrewed through space 4.5 billion miles. Okay. Remember, we're corkscrewing through space. Next year, we're going to be 4.5 billion miles, and there's no parallax, right? When you're, parallax is how things move in the distance, how things will change their orientation due to parallax. Farther things move slower, closer things move farther. Driving down the road, the telephone poles, the light posts are whipping by, but then the trees on the top of the mountain, they're barely moving, right? Because they're far away, right? So NASA tells us, well, the way we know the distance to the stars is we'll look at 2 stars that are kind of in alignment with each other at different distances. And then 6 months later, when we're 186 million miles on the other side of the sun, we'll look at those same 2 stars and we'll see that they're off a little bit. Okay, so there is parallax at 186,000 miles parallax, but the 4.4 billion miles every year, continuing year after year, causes no parallax. The stars are fixed in their position. Personally, I think that they're sentient in nature. These are a whole bunch of stars, okay? Interesting. I think that the wandering stars, which are all named after gods, aka planets, they affect our lives. I used to laugh at astrology, but astrology is the real science. Astronomy is pseudoscience. Everything's upside down in this world. Everything.
Yeah. So, okay, skip the moon. I heard a story that there are 100 reasons to say why the moon shouldn't be up there, and there's none that can explain why the moon is up there.
Yeah, like the Tiamat or whatever hit the Earth and knocked a chunk off the Earth, and it became the moon. Or I just go, cool story, man. Really cool story. Because they're totally ridiculous. They're idiotic, stupid stories. What is the moon? Well, I'll tell you what the moon is. It's the most mysterious thing ever. But it's not a rock floating in space. People go, well, it looks spherical. These all look spherical, but are those spheres? Okay. No. So the moon is tidally locked, where it goes around and it turns at just the right rotation where we only see one face of the moon. Okay. And one of the biggest things is people go, well, on your flat Earth, if the moon was moving around, people would see different parts of the moon, because like if I'm over here, I'm looking at the moon over there, someone on the other side, they kind of see another angle of the moon. Good point if the moon was a physical ball moving over our Earth. But I don't believe that it is. Here is a guy in a swimming pool. Now watch this. Look at him. He's facing us. He's not really facing us. He's facing straight out. But we see his body facing us from over here, and somebody on the other side would see it facing them, right? We believe that the sky, that the space is liquid, and there's a firmament or something up there. And so the optics of the sky are no way to prove that the Earth is a globe. He's facing the way he's facing, but we see his body this way. So when you're looking at optics in the sky, again, it's no way to prove prove the globe. Globers love looking up when you're talking about the shape of the Earth, because the optics in the sky are amazing. They're very complicated. Here's a simple trick you can do at home. Right. So you're looking through, well, this glass will be the firmament. This is what we see in the sky. And then what happens when you add some water? When you add some water to it, everything changes. All games are off. All games are off. Right.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Haven't seen that one. Well, you the glass with the water, it's also what's described in the Bible, isn't it? Waters
God
so below,
separated the waters from the waters, right? Page 1 of the Bible. I never lead with the Bible, because I was Mr. Oh, you believe in the Bible? You're a nutcase. You're a religious fanatic. I'm not listening to anything you say, even though I loved what you were saying before. As soon as you mentioned the Bible or religion, that was my point of view. And that's not the case now. And now, like, the Bible has a lot of information in it. Is the Bible corrupted? I couldn't tell you. I'm not a Bible. I wasn't there when it was written. Right. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Or maybe I was there. I just don't know.
Okay. Why the big deception? Is it just to fool us people in believing we are we do not matter, they matter, we do not matter?
It's just a big joke. They're just doing it as a prank. It's just a prank.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
There's a ton of reasons. Hiding free energy, hiding the creator, hiding your spirituality, hiding more land, as we discussed, hiding more resources, hiding scientific knowledge, what's in Antarctica, hiding that you are at the center of creation, hiding that you're special, hiding that you're powerful, hiding that you have value, hiding that you have rights, you have abilities they don't want you to know. They train us in school. What do they teach kids in school? Like in math, they teach them algebra and a little geometry. Some of that's a little useful. I mean, what are you gonna do with algebra? Except a couple things where it might come into play. They don't teach you about sacred geometry. They don't teach you about phi and pi. They teach you about pi. They don't teach you about the golden ratio. They don't teach you about perspective, because these things could challenge their power. Once you understand what perspective is and how how numbers have immense power, once you understand how they work, how this whole world is run on numbers. Everything goes back to the numbers. The encoding in the English language and many languages, or all languages, is beyond what most humans can even fathom.
Yeah, true. So in that, if you see it like this, the Earth is really a prison planet, because basically that's what it is.
Right. Well, it's a prison for your mind. You remember the True Man show with Jim Carrey? The True Man show. It basically showing that he's in this prison. Hey, and he goes, I want to be an explorer. And the teacher pulls down the map, goes, oh, there's nothing else to explore, Truman. Well, that's what they want us to think. There's nothing else to explore. Antarctica's too cold, and the North Pole is also freezing. I don't believe that the North Pole is freezing. I believe that that there is something special going on at the North Pole, and no one's allowed to go there. Airplanes don't even fly over the North Pole, even though they could on a flat Earth, but they can't on a well, no, they could on both flat Earth and a globe Earth. But you can't fly over the South Pole on a flat Earth, and nobody ever has.
No. Okay. I made some tides. If the Earth is flat and the moon is, well, some kind of mystery, how? Because I always understood, we were taught in school the moon creates the tides on the Earth, right?
That's what we were taught, and again, I say, cool story, bro. So what causes the tides? Well, when you really look at it, the tides are not correlated to the moon, because think about this. What's the difference between the in the heliocentric BS model, the gravitational pull of a full moon or a new moon? A new moon just when the sun's not shining on it in the heliocentric model. What's the difference in the gravitational pull? Nothing, right? The moon's still there. Okay. Well, we have these exceptionally high tides when there's a full moon, but not when there's a new moon. And you would think about it when there's a new moon. So hold on, here we go. When there's a new moon, so here you got the Earth. Let me see if I can do this. And this would be a new moon, right? If this was a globe Earth we're looking at. A new moon, the moon is near the sun. You can't see the moon, right? Because the sun is shining on the back of the moon. So you got the gravity of the sun and the gravity of the moon. The tide should be huge, but it's not. Only when there's a full moon, okay? Mm-hmm. So the tides don't correlate to that. Also, there's videos that I have on my app that show you about tides. I actually have a button dedicated to tides. That show you that there's tidal nodes all over the world that have these weird tides at weird times, right? It doesn't correlate to anything. And if you think about it, the Earth is spinning, the highest tide should be at the equator. There's like no tide at the equator. The highest tides the biggest tides are in the inner north, okay? So this is what they tell us, okay? They tell us, so you got the moon over here, and the sun, here, I gotta do it. It's all backwards for me. So you got the moon. I can't. It goes right off the screen. All right. So you got the moon and the sun, and over here you have a high tide because the moon is pulling the water away from the Earth, so creating this bulge. Ready? Try not to laugh. Don't even smile. Okay. This is what they tell us. That the gravity from the moon is pulling the water, bulging it on this side. At the same time, there's another high tide over here. And that's because the gravity of the moon is pulling the Earth away from the water on the other side. Don't laugh. This is the official story. Okay. And that these bulges stay there, and then the Earth spins through the bulge.
Yeah.
How dumb is that? Okay. Yeah. Again, you need to see the videos on. Are you familiar with my app?
No, not yet. I just saw it this afternoon. So
yeah, so let me show you. And everyone's like, "Oh, here he goes. He's selling something." The app's $3, one-time charge. Okay, and just read the reviews. It's the highest rated app in the App Store and the Google Play Store. And it, with all the censorship, like if you Google flat Earth, you might as well just say I'm a lifelong glober, because it's nonsense. They just feed you all the propaganda. What happens in the app is, let me share my screen. Is it shows you how it works. It brings you new information every day. Okay. Every day there's a featured video over here. You just tap the thumbnail and up comes that video, and it'll teach you something new every day. If you miss a video, just hit the archive button and all the videos are there from the previous organized in months and years. And these are things that you won't find on YouTube. But if you hit the question mark button right over there, up comes the top questions. And if I go, hey, what about tides? Click, up comes, open YouTube, up comes a playlist that you won't find these. These are on YouTube, but you won't find them because Google doesn't want you to know them. And it'll show you different things about the tides, and you'll be like, oh, wow. Tides, again, are very, very mysterious. But so that's the app. And also, hey, what about eclipses? What about ships over the horizon? Click that button. Up comes a playlist of ships over the horizon. This is the one that turned me into a flat earther, right? I went and did, some of these videos are actually mine that are in here, some of the observations that I made. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. So if you don't want to be a flat earther, do not click any of these buttons, because once you go flat, you don't go back. Also in the app, I have this web button, tons of stuff. Bottom right, mud floods, Tartaria. It sounds like you've been looking into that a little bit. Next to that, biblical flat earth. If you are a Bible believer or a Bible hater, click that button. Either way, the videos in there will blow your mind, and then you could make up your own mind. Tons of stuff. Top left, Globebusters 24/7. We do a show Wednesday nights here in America, and Wednesday afternoon or evening, whatever, and Sunday afternoons, live every week. But this is the 24/7 Globebusters channel, like CNN, all crap all the time. Well, this is all flat Earth all the time. Your video will be here when it goes up. Flat Earth Dave interviews. That's my channel, DITRH. All my short videos are over here. Blow you away. All sorts of stuff. Full-length documentaries. My videos are good. Like, you want to share them with somebody, they're 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, even 1 minute, right? These are full-length documentaries over here. If you hit the books tab, up come all sorts of flat Earth books. If you're a book person, it has a new feature. Now, this is, for those of you watching, this isn't out yet. It's coming out soon. We're testing it. But you see the handshake button. That's meet other flat earthers. And then you can click it, and it'll show you where all the other app users are in the world. Now, you could say, hey, hide my location. Just don't put me in the center of my zip code, or show my exact location. And then you zoom in. There's not many other dots in here other than my developers over in India. Actually, they're not. We just. Oh, there they are. There's someone over here. So this is going to be covered with dots. So if you're like, hey, Earth is flat, I'm going out to lunch in a strange town or in my own town. I'm like, hey, there's other flat earthers here. This is interesting. And then you could find other flat earthers, and you could send them a message. Tap on their dot, send them a text message. Bam. It's a great way to meet other people. It does a ton of other things. Are you going to ask about seasons? Because while we're here, let me show you how seasons work. You ready? And then I'll get out of the app. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun is the hour hand, but it's not attached to the hour hand because here we're in daylight savings time. Do you have that where you are? Daylight savings time?
And
do you guys adjust your clock twice a year, changing the time? Probably not. Oh, you do?
Yes.
All right. So we do. That's another tool that they use to disconnect us from the Earth clock. I mean, they don't want us in sync with the circadian rhythms of the Earth, because we might discover who we are. So that's why the sun isn't attached to the hour hand. But right now you can't see the moon because we're in a new moon. But if you watch, there comes the moon, starts appearing behind it. because the sun will lap the moon once every 28 days. The sun keeps track of the hours and the time. The moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. And if I turned on the stars keep track of the seasons and the years. The stars lap the sun once a year. Like the sun, we were in the sun was in Cancer last month, but the stars are outrunning it. Now we're in Leo, and next month it'll be here, and the next month it'll be there, and then it resets after a year. So that's how the stars work. So looking at that, you see the inner yellow line? The inner yellow line is the Tropic of Cancer. And when the sun is in there, if I could jump all the way around to June, April, May, June. In June, the sun is over the Tropic of Cancer. So we're in the inner north. In June, it's a height of our summer because the sun is close to us. When it's close, it's high in the sky. Okay?
Yeah.
And then in Australia, South America, South Africa, they're having their winter because the sun is far from them. But 6 months later, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 months later in December, they have their summer because the sun is close to them, far from us. When something in the sky is far away, it's lower in the sky. Okay? If you and I were sitting outside in the winter and one of us had a heat lamp over us and the other person's 20 feet away, the one with the heat lamp over them would go, oh, it's warm. I get it. You know, the heat lamp is over me and that's my summer sun. The other person would look at it and go, oh, it's far away. It's lower in the sky. I can barely feel the heat. That's your winter sun. Move it over. Yeah. All right. So that's how seasons work. And they make no sense whatsoever on a globe Earth.
No. Okay.
All right.
And what about we talked about the moon. What about the sun? What is, in your opinion, the sun?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question. The sun is, there's a lot of research going on with what they call the second sun or the spirit sun. And I believe that it's the source of the sun that we see, that the sun is being magnified to a point in the sky, just like you can take a magnifying glass and make a little hot little spot that you burnt anthills with. That looks like a little sun. And if you raise it 6 inches in the air, that dot is still there. It's just in the air. So we're seeing that sun being projected into our reality, into our what we call our personal atmospheric dome. And it moves across the sky. It appears when it gets close enough and it disappears when it gets far enough. And it just moves over our sky. Let me show you a video that I took. This is with my drone looking, it was winter, it was 30 some odd degrees out. It was freezing, it was below freezing, zero humidity. And the sun was up here and it just kept going, the earth is spinning. It would be going down, down, down. If the earth was spinning, it would just keep on going. So in 10 minutes and 5 minutes times, it went from up here to here and then it stopped. It stopped. And instead of going down below, now this is sped up 2,500%. Instead of dropping down below, it just disappeared because its light could no longer push through the thickness of the atmosphere. This is a super clear day. Here it is again. It doesn't drop. It just goes away and you can't see it anymore. So that's just shows you, this whole thing, light traveling for billions of years, break out the glasses. Cool story. Certain times in certain places, this was shot by a soldier in Afghanistan. The sun is just going away and it's not dropping. Super dry, super clear, nothing in his way, and it just goes away. And as Paul McCartney says, the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head sees the world spinning round. And that's how we see it. Now, when I was looking at this, my friends were down at the beach and they saw the sunset from the bottom up, just like this. It's set from the bottom up, and that's due to perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could show you how that works if you want.
Yeah, cool.
You want to see how that works?
Yeah.
So perspective. Yeah, they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know about perspective. I'm trying to find my video as I'm talking to you because it just moved. As things go, all right, here we go. This is my flat Earth kitchen. My counter is the Earth. This line is the path of the sun. We're videoing it from a celestial point of view up at the height of the sun. You can see that the sun is moving in a straight level line. And this is either mountains or cloud deck, or this is the atmospheric deck of opacity, just something opaque, and I don't go below it. Now I'm going to show you this same thing again from a camera that's on the other end of the counter that's on the Earth, looking up at the sun. And this is what we see. Now, if I showed you this first and said, is this line level or is it sloped? You would say it was sloped. It's the same line. And look, it's going beyond this and it's setting. Now, that is in the distance looks like it's at our eye level, but we know it's higher. But everything gets compressed into the atmosphere and anything above it will go beyond it. Okay. So here it is. Here's a real sunset. You think this is the horizon, but look, this is the atmospheric deck of opacity right there. And as it goes away, it just sets beyond it due to perspective. Okay.
Yeah.
And now the distance between this apparent horizon and what this is, you can't see it with your naked eye because it's compressed, but I zoomed in to show you that it's there. Okay. And that's how perspective works. And that's how the sun sets. What is the sun? I don't believe it's anything physical. I don't believe it's even hot. I think it's just sending electricity here, and that electricity is making things hot when it hits things.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Let's talk Tartaria.
Okay.
But that's a crazy story, right?
Not really. I mean, if you look, there's Tartarian buildings everywhere. I mean, you look at some of the buildings that they say were built in the 1800s, 1700s when we had horses and buggies. We couldn't build these giant palaces and not even talking about the pyramids, okay, which is another impossibility. We couldn't build those today. These things, supposedly when everyone was poor and just, horses and buggies and struggling, they're building these incredible, technologically advanced of buildings and stuff. If you look, if you really want to learn about Tartaria, again, in the app, if you go to the web button, bottom right, mud floods, like there's a picture of the transcontinental railroads being excavated, not built. But one of the best ones is in the center, the lost history of flat Earth. Have you seen that yet?
No, not yet. Not yet.
So here's the thing. I'm very conscious of people's times. Like if my video comes out to be 5 minutes, I'm like, oh my God, no one's going to watch this. It's 5 minutes. This video, top video, is 5 hours. Okay. 5 hours. I've watched it 3 times already and I can't wait to watch it again. This one will blow your mind. If you hit this guy, he gets into everything from Tartaria. Look, it's unbelievable what's going on. These things, these are free. He talks about how they're free energy, how these buildings were advanced technological, whatever, energy transmitters, healing centers, whatever. And then they were all turned into places of worship, in this realm. Like, hey, this is going to be a church. This is a Catholic church. This is a Muslim. This is a mosque, right? These things were built back when everyone's on horse and buggy. And once you understand that that's impossible, then you start to see it. And once you see it, you can't unsee it.
No, it is. I got into Tartaria, I think last year.
Yeah.
Never heard of it. But indeed, it's the type of buildings, you see them all around the world. And since 1850, something like that, there was something called a big mud flood, great mud flood. And that destroyed all the technology. Well, it didn't really destroy it, but it was, since then, has been kept away from us. That's
so if
how
you
I
look
understand
at these buildings, a lot of the buildings we have today are built on top of other buildings. Like here in America, the Capitol building is built on top of another building that's underneath it. How come nobody talks about that, right? These buildings were built before we got here. The whole Christopher Columbus story, nonsense, never happened. Okay. So there was a wipeout of an old civilization. Now, Did the mud flood help wipe it out? And the people that survived, like, hey, you know what? We can keep all these peasants in line if we lie to them, you know? Was it more supernatural than that? Who knows? I don't know. I wasn't there. So, you know, there's buildings everywhere where you look, why are those windows underground? Why are those windows looking into dirt? You know, what's going on under these buildings? And then you look and it's like, this was built in the 1800s. I mean, how did they transport those stones? How did they lift them? How did, you know, there's so many questions. The whole story of the Wild West here in America, people, you know, heading across the country, nonsense. It's just absolute total nonsense.
All where when people start investigating stuff like this, like on your website, your app, what do you want people to well, how do you see the future?
The future is this. So here's the thing. Right now, the world is under siege. They're doing their final run to literally enslave all of humanity. Are you aware? You're aware of this, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So there, and people are just laying down like lambs. It's unbelievable. They're just walking into the slaughterhouse. Be careful what I'm saying here, so this can go on YouTube. So if by chance people say no to what's going on and we get a reprieve and we get our freedoms back somewhat, how long can we keep them if we're lost in space spinning out of control? There's two things that is the key to our freedom. Two things. One, you have to get out of the prison of the ball and realize who you are, where you are, what this place is, and the power that you have. Each person is more powerful than all of the evil combined. Okay. You just have to realize that. But us together are even more powerful. That's why they want us apart. So that's one thing, realizing who we are, where we are, what we are, because all of the people that wake up to flat Earth, like we're having a conference in South Carolina here in the United States in October called Flattoberfest. If anyone listening to this in America, it's flatearthfestivals.com. Everyone there is the most awesome person. They're all awake and aware. They've all disconnected from this fear matrix. They're no longer feeding the system with fear, and they're living their lives the best that they can, and they're helping say no. This entire tyranny would be over tomorrow if everyone just said no today. Okay, it would be over today, actually. So, you know, it's the fact that the only control governments have over you is in your imagination. That's it. If everyone said, oh, governments have no control, they have no control. That's it. The other thing is we're playing on their monopoly board. You know, you have the game Monopoly where you are, worldwide game. Do you know what it says in the rules if you run out of money? If the bank runs out of money, it says just get some pieces of paper and write some more money on it. Okay. And that's what they do. And they control us with money. They don't need money. The elite don't need money. The money is just a control system. Money has no value other than in our imaginations, just like the power that they have. So we need to get off their monopoly board and start using real money. Now, real money, people say, oh, silver and gold. Yeah, but let's say I wanted to buy something from you. How am I going to get you a silver dollar? You know, how am I going to send you a piece of gold? What a pain in the ass. That's where cryptocurrency comes in. But I'm not talking Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is already controlled by the demons that run the world banking. I'm talking about privacy cryptocurrencies like Pirate Chain and Monero, and others. But these are the main ones that are going to take over the world. If everyone started just using that as money, the banks all of a sudden are gone. Well, the bankers are the ones that are running the world. The bankers are the evil ones. Okay, they're the ones that run the world. And all of these groups here, you know, are literally the controllers of our world. Deny their authority, know where you are, and use our own money system, and then we're free, and they'll just crumble away. But that's going to be a rough transition. But if it doesn't happen, we're going into some serious dark times.
Yeah. Yes. It's like you said, I agree totally with what you say about it. It can stop this madness if we stop right now. It's because ultimately the power is with the people. We the people, we have the power, the ultimate power.
And they've done stuff. They test it. Here's what they do. They go, oh, we're going to do this crazy thing. We're over here. And then they go, oh, all right, we'll just go to here. And everyone goes, oh, that's cool. And they move right over. Done. Okay. Then they go, oh, we're going to do this crazier thing. And then we're right. Then we agree to do the first thing that we didn't disagree. People are just being led to slaughter.
Yeah.
So again, I don't want to say too much because censorship is the thing. 1984, George Orwell, he's rolling over in his grave laughing. He goes, wow, I should have put this in the book, but nobody would believe it. You know, what's going on right now. So again, you know, they don't want our voices heard. Who knows how much longer you and I will be able to talk over the internet like this. You know, right now there's some crazy stuff. I'm thinking that the next thing is within the next 6 months, maybe all airlines shut down.
Why?
Well, because the airlines are being forced to do a thing, maybe this thing, and all of them, and maybe they're all going to just get sick or walk out because they don't want to do it. Who knows? Because they want to shut down travel. They want us living separate from each other. They don't want us traveling. This has been their goal for a long time. And they want to do a world depopulation. I don't know. Are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
Yeah.
Yeah. They want to reduce the population to 500 million. That's like 6 out of 7 people gonzo. Right? It's not like they wrote it in stone. Oh, wait a minute. They did write it in stone. They did write it in stone. Okay. So, you know, and another thing is, and if you want to know how this all ties together, the Georgia Guidestones prove that the earth is flat. Okay. On the Georgia Guidestones, there's a little hole, right? There's a little hole in one of them. And when you look through it, what do you see? You see the star Polaris. You know, you do a time lapse and all the stars are spinning around. How can we be moving 4.5 billion miles in one direction, all these other directions, and for the last 40 years, Polaris has never moved from that hole? Mm-hmm. Okay. This is a calendar, a clock, and commandments for the new world. Okay. And it's written in stone because maybe anything that's not written in stone won't exist. You know, I used to laugh, you know, oh, those ancient civilizations, they're so, you know, the Egyptians, they were so primitive, they had to write in stone. Well, maybe everything else disappeared. The only thing that will last is stone. Yeah. So what is going on, man? And guess what? We have the ability to stop this with our minds, and they don't want you to know that. They want to keep you in fear. They want us not talking to each other. They want us not together. And waking up to flat Earth and you know, their monopoly board not playing on it is the key, and they don't want us to know that. They're trying everything they can to stop it, and who knows what they'll do next.
Yeah. Well, they will try a few. They have a few tricks up their sleeve, right? But I'm hoping, I'm really hoping, and more and more people will wake up to the truth. Even just looking at this video and starting wondering about Earth, is it a globe or is it flat? Just making them aware of things that aren't right, and then they start thinking, well, I hope.
I have the Flat Earth Challenge. Watch the daily video every day for 2 weeks. And if you still think the Earth is a globe and you have a proof, send it to me and you win 3 Bitcoins. Okay. Yeah. Right. That's $130,000 today or whatever it is. But before you do, you have to click the question mark and make sure your question isn't answered in there. Probably is. You probably won't win. Nobody's won so far. Sorry. But if you think the Earth is a globe, ask yourself why. And the only thing that you're going to come up with is, well, that's what I was told in school. My teacher told me that. My teacher wouldn't lie to me. What, are all teachers liars? No, they're all indoctrinated. You know how you become a teacher? Memorize and regurgitate the Rockefeller-funded baloney, and then you can become the teacher because you memorized it the best.
Yeah, and that's another thing. People don't ask us for proof. Investigate yourself, because it's
That's what
because
the app does. The app gives you the ability, all the things in the app, you can go verify for yourself, you
yes,
know, and when you then, people, anyone that says photos of Earth, you haven't looked. The only people that believe there's photos in Earth are Globers. NASA admits they have no photos of Earth. Okay. We
yeah,
get into that whole thing. And then if you look at the images of Earth, paintings, none of them match. I mean, they're just a total joke.
yeah. And well, it is. And even now, the guy from NASA he
Don Pet.
approved. No, he said it was Photoshop, right?
Yeah, it's Photoshop because it has to be. And he showed how he made it. Here's
Yeah,
what I remember when in 2017, this came out. I believe that they said, oh, look at the pollution. Look how dim, the global dimming, right? Look at the clouds. Same
yeah,
cloud. Same cloud.
yeah.
Same clouds. They figured if they turned it a little bit, but it's got the same clouds. Right? They're lazy, or they're putting it out in front of us. Part of the revelation of the method, where they let us know what they're doing. They're letting us know.
Yeah. That's what they have to do. They have to tell us.
Yes,
No.
that's what I believe.
Can we stop this? What do you think?
I think we can stop this. I think that people just need to wake up. But there's people that will fight for their slavery, just like the Stockholm syndrome. I forgot who did the experiment, but they took a chicken and they grabbed it. Like, I think it was like one of the SS officers, and they ripped all of its feathers off of it and then put it on the ground so it was shivering, but gave it a little handful of food. Right. And then that chicken just followed the person around and rubbed up against his leg, like, oh, please help me, please help me, please help me, keep me warm, feed me. And that's what people are doing right now. People are fighting for their own enslavement, and they don't even realize it. And we have one of our guys, Austin, who's the Wits It Gets It YouTube channel. He travels the country for the last half a year, and he gets his microphone and his speaker, and he goes out in public squares and starts talking about the heliocentric nonsense. And he's been offering people $100 if they can answer 3 questions about the globe. Nobody can answer it. Simple questions,
Mm-hmm.
And but the other day, the police try to stop him, and he's like, "This is the sign says free speech zone, right?" And they're like, "Nope, you have to have a permit for free speech." And he's like, and then the people applauded the police taking him away. They're applauding for their own enslavement. It's incredible what's going on. We have a group here. It's called it's a patriot group. Basically, we made these lawn signs, like election signs. It says, "Do you love freedom?" Red, white, and blue sign. "Do you love freedom?" And then our website. That's all. People stealing the signs. They steal them. Like, oh no, like all it says is, "Do you love freedom?" Right? And they steal the signs and throw them out because they're mind controlled, or maybe worse. Maybe there's organized groups just trying to squash anything that would go against the narrative. So again, crazy times. There's certain people that will never wake up, no matter what you tell them, no matter what evidence you show them. They'll be like, "Oh no, I saw that polio was taken care of properly." Well, you've done no research into polio.
It's like I said in the beginning. It is way bigger than just flat Earth with you. You have
right. Flat Earth is the key to seeing the rest of the world. And if you don't know who you are, where you are, what you are, or the power of your mind, if you don't have a vision of what's possible, because they've made it impossible, okay, right? Then you literally can't manifest, right?
No.
Like, you can't bring all of your thoughts. Like, if you have a good thought, and you're in that flow state, it comes to you. If you have a bad thought, it comes to you. This universe, the one verse, whatever this place is, conspires to bring you everything that you truly think about. And so the more bad stuff you think about, the more bad stuff it's going to bring you. The more good stuff you think about, the more good stuff it brings you. But if your thoughts are limited, then you're limiting your ability to manifest.
Yeah. The way the elite, the powers that be at the moment control us is through fear, right?
Yes.
That's their tool. That's their main weapon.
Fear and they've encapsulated us to not see. Fear and blocking our vision, blocking our vision of what is out there. They don't want us to know, because then our manifestation desires will reach out even farther. They have us, believing that we're running out of water. Nonsense. Running out of food. Nonsense.
Nuclear weapons. Nonsense.
Nuclear weapons. Fake.
Let's talk about nuclear weapons.
Yes.
It's the theory I have, because we were told if there was a nuclear war, the planet would be you could not live on the planet for 100 years, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Then we saw what, I didn't see it personally, but we know what happens in Japan and Nagasaki.
So let's talk about what you saw. After the bombs that landed in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, there was only one reporter that was allowed to take photos and write stories for the whatever press there was back then. And anyone else that took a photo or wrote a story got jailed. So they sequestered the information. 3 days after both bombs went off, the trains were running, the sandwich shops were open, the flower shops were selling flowers, and everybody was back to work. There were some fires going on, but that doesn't shut down the whole city. Does that sound like a nuclear bomb? 3 days later, they have less cancer in Japan than we have here in America, okay? Right? Plants, animals, people have all thrived in Hiroshima and Nagasaki since then, and before then, and until now, and through now. So it wasn't anything like that. It's all fear. This is all to make, to build this military industrial complex and to keep people living in fear. Anytime you hear the word Kim Jong-un, you think, oh my God, nuclear bomb, he's going to blow up the world. We have to do something. Kim Jong-un is a mental patient that probably can't even talk. And they just get him in front of a green screen and he goes like this and he smiles, right? And the bombs and the troops behind him are stepped and repeated. Anytime you get a high resolution picture, which are hard to find now, you look, it's the same guys again and again and again. And the bombs are blow up. They're blow up, balloons. None of them are real.
No. Back to Japan. Something did explode, obviously, in Nagasaki.
TNT. There's video of them stacking pallets and pallets and pallets of dynamite. TNT. Yeah.
So that created a big cloud.
It creates a big cloud. If you go look at they showed us in school the house blowing up and the trees bending over backwards. Go watch that video again. It's on YouTube. You can find it. It's fake. It's a claymation. It's a little animation. It's a miniature. Okay. When you look at it with adult eyes, adult brain, you can see that it's not real. Mm-hmm. And I'm not just saying that. Just go look at it. Yeah. It's unbelievable.
And there's only one or two videos online even that show it. So that
we have the bomb going off with the boat and the sea, and then we have the one of the house blowing up and the trees bending over backwards. These are just miniatures. Yeah. Right. And by the way, a big pile of TNT creates a mushroom cloud, just so you know.
Yeah. What about the nuclear plants? Also, like the one in Japan. What happened? Well, obviously there was a tidal wave, but
the reasons and stuff for that, the whole nuclear thing. There's a guy named Gaylor Winsen, something like that. He was going around showing that, hey, the uranium isn't bad. He would swim in the reactor pools. He would eat the uranium, and he was fine. Okay. Yeah. This is a technology that came from Tartaria. If you look in Tartaria, like they heated buildings with uranium, I think, or something like that. There's a lot of evidence there. But what nuclear power plants are is, they use uranium. I think they do, at least, to boil water to turn pistons. They're boiling water with uranium. Big deal. They're not doing any crazy fusion reactors. If you go look at Chernobyl, There's people that are still living there completely fine. Plants, animals, and people thriving in Chernobyl. It's all just scare tactics. If you want some good real estate advice, here's my advice. This is my advice. I'm not a real estate agent. If there's a nuclear power plant and everyone's freaking out about it, buy the house and buy the beautiful houses here. You can buy like a $10 million house for like $200,000 because people just want to get away from it or something like that. Buy it because you just bought a $10 million house for $200,000 and there's no problem with nuclear power.
Well, again, there are so many things. What are chemtrails? You know about chemtrails, right?
Yeah, great question. I don't know. I don't know who's doing them. I don't know what the reason is. They definitely interfere with the weather, but I think it's way, way, way bigger than that. I think that, the clouds above us are something way more than what we realize. There might be intelligence in those clouds. I don't know. But when you watch a chemtrail go into a beautiful cumulus cloud, that cumulus cloud just turns into a slurry. There's literally a war above us. Maybe, part of this system that we live in, our thoughts don't just come from our brains. Our brains have a Wi-Fi antenna. That's our pineal gland, which they calcify with chemicals and fluoride that kind of disconnects us from source. That's how we got into this crazy, ridiculous situation the way it is. And maybe the clouds and the heavens above have something to do with it. And there's a war going on up there that we don't understand. But there's always multiple reasons that they do things, and it definitely affects our weather. It definitely affects our attitude. They spray different things in the sky. If you really want to learn about it, there's a movie online for free called Frankenskies by Matt Landman. Well, watch Frankenskies, and then you'll understand what's going on in the sky. It's not just condensation trails. It's ridiculous to believe that.
Well, you mentioned it. I think it's way bigger than we think. We think we the people. Then you have governments, and then you have banks, but there are multiple layers above banks and big corporations. We never ever heard about. Well, some of us have heard about it, but we don't know them.
Right. There's some crazy videos where, there's no plane. There's like an orb, and then sometimes the plane disappears. Maybe there's, I believe that the military is spraying the skies, but maybe there's other things spraying the skies too. Maybe there's different programs going on. I don't know.
No, maybe for another show.
Yeah. Frankenskies. Watch that video. Better than I can tell you.
Okay. Dave, I want to thank you very much for this interview.
Yeah, no problem. I love talking to people that have an open mind. And again, anyone that can watch this interview and says, oh, well, what can I do? Well, you didn't listen. You didn't listen because you can do something. You can say no. Stop agreeing. Stop plugging into the matrix. I have never worn a shame face muzzle once. Okay. I have not. And I've been able to operate. I'm the only one in the grocery store here where I live that doesn't have one on, but what are they going to do? So here's the big, people are wearing them because people are wearing them.
Yeah.
People are wearing them because everyone else is wearing them. It's ridiculous.
And they are, most people are afraid. They're not afraid of the virus or whatever it is.
Easy in what you say. Easy in what you say because of the censorship. They're not afraid of the V thing, either. But they're just doing it because they want to be considerate of other people. That's ridiculous. That's why we're having this problem. They also are afraid of the fines. Because you get a fine if you don't. Yeah, but just you don't pay it. It's because it's unlawful. But that's a whole other thing. People are just lazy. I don't want to deal with it. I'll just put it on. It's no big deal. It's not hurting anybody. It is hurting everybody. It's hurting you. It's hurting your interpersonal relationships. You can't read people's micro expressions. You're losing information. You're losing connection. You're losing, my facial expressions are my God-given gift, and I'm not going to cover them up for anybody.
No. Hell yeah.
So.
Dave, thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have to close it because it's 1 hour, 15 minutes, something like that. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, man. Well, thanks for having me. And everybody, check out my app. It's $2.99 American. There is a pop-up that says, hey, would you like to subscribe? You can exit out. There's no ads. There's no nothing. It goes away. It only shows up once a day. It takes a half a second to get rid of it. You don't need to do that. It's only for the people that want to donate to the app. People wanted a donate button. I'm not allowed to have a donate button, so I put a subscribe button. You still get everything. With the new update that's coming out with the Find Other Flat Earthers, the messaging feature, you have to be a subscriber, but you don't need the messaging feature. Just enjoy it the way it is. If you don't want to subscribe, that's fine. One-time charge. You're buying me a half of a beer.
You get drunk. Again, thank you very much, Dave.
All right, man.
And we'll talk again sometime because there's a lot of other stuff we have to cover.
All right, Peter.
This is the beginning.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey, bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.